Hey everyone, it's Sav. Welcome to today's video where we'll dive deep into the ultimate strategies that will completely revolutionize your study routine. We're not talking about just minor tweaks here, we're talking about a complete overhaul. Whether you're struggling to stay focused, need a better study plan, or want to maximize your study time to retain information longer, this video has got you covered. We'll explore effective study techniques and, most importantly, give you actionable steps that you can implement right away to boost your academic performance. First and foremost, let's get one thing straight. Studying isn't about burning the midnight oil or pushing yourself to the brink of exhaustion. It's about working smarter, not harder. It's about understanding how your brain best absorbs and retains information. So buckle up, because we're about to unlock the secrets to mastering your studies. Before we even crack open a book, we need to talk about mindset. You see, the first step in achieving academic success actually has nothing to do with books or lectures. It all starts with having the right mindset. Think of your mind as a garden. If you want to grow strong, healthy plants, you need to cultivate the right environment. The same goes for your studies. If you approach your studies with a negative attitude, filled with self-doubt and fear of failure, you're essentially planting your seeds in toxic soil. But if you approach your studies with a positive, growth-oriented mindset, you create an environment where learning can flourish. You're telling yourself that you're capable, that you're willing to put in the work, and that even if you stumble, you'll get back up and try again. When you believe in your ability to succeed, you're far more likely to persevere through challenges. You won't be as easily discouraged by setbacks, because you understand that learning is a process, and setbacks are just a natural part of that process. So, how do you cultivate this positive, growth-oriented mindset? Start by reframing your thoughts about learning. Instead of viewing studying as a chore or a necessary evil, try to see it as an opportunity for growth. Embrace challenges as opportunities to learn and grow, and most importantly, celebrate your successes, no matter how small they may seem. Remember, every step forward, no matter how tiny, is still a step in the right direction. Now that we've got the right mindset in place, let's talk about some seriously effective study techniques. And trust me, when it comes to learning and retaining information, few methods are as powerful as active recall. So, what exactly is active recall? In a nutshell, it's about actively engaging with the material you're trying to learn, forcing your brain to retrieve the information from memory without the crutch of your notes or textbooks. Think of it like this. Imagine you're trying to learn a new language. If you just passively read through a phrase book, you might recognize some words here and there, but you're unlikely to remember much. However, if you actively try to recall phrases from memory, you're forcing your brain to work harder, and that's where the real learning happens. There are tons of ways to implement active recall into your study routine. You could use flashcards, write practice questions for yourself, or even just try explaining concepts out loud as if you were teaching someone else. The key is to make an effort to retrieve the information from your own brain, rather than just passively reviewing it. Now I know what you might be thinking, but Sav, won't this take longer? Honestly, it might, but trust me, the extra effort is more than worth it. Active recall is like weightlifting for your brain. The more you challenge yourself to recall information, the stronger your neural connections become, and the easier it becomes to remember things in the long run. So, ditch the passive highlighting and rereading, and embrace the power of active recall. Your brain will thank you for it. Okay, we've covered the power of active recall, but there's another secret weapon in the battle against forgetting spaced repetition. This technique works hand in hand with active recall to solidify information in your long-term memory. Here's the basic idea. Instead of cramming information into your brain all at once, you space out your review sessions over increasing intervals. This might sound counterintuitive, but trust me, it works wonders. Think about it like this. Imagine you're trying to learn a new dance routine. If you practice the same steps over and over again for an hour straight, you'll probably feel pretty confident by the end of the session. But what happens a few days later when you try to remember the routine? Chances are, you'll have forgotten a good chunk of it. Now imagine you practice the same routine for 20 minutes today, review it again tomorrow, and then again a few days later. By spacing out your practice sessions, you're giving your brain time to consolidate the information and strengthen the neural connections. This is where spaced repetition comes in. By reviewing material at increasing intervals, say one day, then 3 days, then a week, then a month, You're essentially telling your brain, hey, this information is important, don't you dare forget it. There are tons of apps and programs out there that can help you implement spaced repetition into your study routine. But even if you prefer to keep things analog, you can still use the basic principles of spaced repetition by scheduling your review sessions in advance. Let's be real for a second. We live in a world obsessed with results, grades, scores, accolades. These are the things that often define success in the academic world. But what happens when we become so fixated on the outcome that we forget about the journey? Here's the thing, focusing solely on grades can actually be detrimental to your learning. When your entire self-worth is tied to a number on a piece of paper, it creates immense pressure and anxiety. This can lead to burnout, procrastination, and a fear of failure that prevents you from taking risks and truly engaging with the material. So, what's the alternative? Shift your focus to the process. Instead of obsessing over grades, concentrate on developing healthy study habits, mastering effective learning techniques, and cultivating a genuine love for learning. When you focus on the process, the results will naturally follow. You'll find yourself more engaged in your studies, more resilient in the face of challenges, and ultimately, more successful in the long run. Think of it like this. If you're training for a marathon, you wouldn't spend all your time thinking about crossing the finish line. You'd focus on putting in the miles, building your endurance, and perfecting your technique. The same goes for studying. Focus on building a solid foundation of knowledge, developing effective study strategies, and nurturing a love for learning. The grades, the accolades, the recognition, those will come as a natural byproduct of your dedication and hard work. Alright, let's talk organization. I know, for some of you the word schedule might send shivers down your spine. But trust me, when it comes to effective studying, organization is your secret weapon. Think about it. Without a clear plan, you're essentially wandering aimlessly through the vast landscape of knowledge. You might stumble upon some interesting tidbits here and there, but you're unlikely to make significant progress. A study schedule acts as your roadmap, guiding you through your academic journey and ensuring that you cover all the essential material. It helps you prioritize your tasks, allocate your time wisely, and stay on track to achieve your goals. Now, I'm not talking about creating a rigid, minute-by-minute schedule that leaves no room for flexibility. Your schedule should be a tool that works for you, not against you. Experiment with different approaches until you find a system that fits your learning style and your lifestyle. Maybe you prefer to plan out your entire week in advance, or perhaps you thrive on daily to-do lists. The key is to find a system that helps you stay organized and on top of your workload. And don't be afraid to adjust your schedule as needed. Life happens, unexpected events pop up, and that's okay. The beauty of a schedule is that it provides a framework, but it's not set in stone. Let's face it, we live in a world overflowing with distractions. From the siren song of social media to the endless stream of notifications, it's easier than ever to get sidetracked from our studies. But here's the thing, distractions are productivity killers. Every time you break your focus to check your phone, respond to a text, or scroll through social media, you're essentially hitting the reset button on your brain. It takes time and effort for your brain to fully engage in a task, and every distraction, no matter how small, disrupts that flow. This constant context switching can leave you feeling drained, overwhelmed, and ultimately less productive. So how do we combat these distractions? It's all about creating a study environment that promotes focus and concentration. Start by finding a dedicated study space, a place that's free from distractions and signals to your brain, it's time to focus. This could be a quiet corner in your home, a library, or even a cozy coffee shop. Once you've found your sanctuary, it's time to eliminate those digital distractions. Put your phone on silent, turn off notifications, and if you need to, use website blockers to prevent yourself from falling down the rabbit hole of social media or online entertainment. Remember, you're in control. You have the power to create an environment that fosters focus and productivity. We often think of studying as a purely mental exercise, but the truth is, our physical and mental well-being play a huge role in our ability to learn and retain information. Think about it. When you're exhausted, sleep-deprived, and running on caffeine and sugar, how well do you think your brain is functioning? Probably not at its best. When you prioritize your physical and mental health, you're essentially giving your brain the fuel it needs to function at its peak. So, what does it mean to take care of your body and mind while you're studying? Well, it starts with the basics. Aim for 7 to 8 hours of quality sleep each night. Your brain needs this time to rest, recharge, and consolidate all that new information you've been feeding it. Dehydration can lead to fatigue, headaches, and difficulty concentrating. Make sure you're drinking plenty of water throughout the day, especially during those intense study sessions. Fuel your brain with healthy, nutrient-rich foods that provide sustained energy. Avoid processed foods, sugary snacks, and excessive caffeine, which can lead to energy crashes and hinder your focus. Exercise isn't just good for your physical health, it's amazing for your brain too. Even a short walk or some light stretching can boost blood flow to your brain, improve your mood, and enhance your cognitive function. Don't underestimate the power of breaks. Stepping away from your studies for a few minutes can actually help you feel more refreshed and focused when you return. Here's a secret. Studying doesn't have to be a solitary endeavor. In fact, one of the most effective ways to learn and retain information is to engage with others. Think back to your childhood. Remember how much easier it was to learn new concepts when you were actively playing, experimenting, and discussing ideas with your friends. The same principle applies to studying. When you engage in active learning with your peers, you're creating a dynamic and stimulating environment that fosters deeper understanding. You're challenging each other, asking questions, and reinforcing your knowledge through discussion and collaboration. Here are a few ways to incorporate active learning and peer engagement into your study routine. Gather a group of classmates who are motivated and committed to learning. Set regular meeting times, assign roles, and hold each other accountable. One of the best ways to solidify your understanding of a concept is to teach it to someone else. Take turns explaining difficult topics to each other, and don't be afraid to ask for clarification when needed. Choose a topic related to your studies and engage in a lively debate or discussion. This will force you to think critically, defend your arguments, and consider different perspectives. If you can't meet in person, there are tons of online tools that can facilitate collaborative learning. Use shared documents, video conferencing, or online forums to connect with your peers and engage in active learning. We've covered a lot of ground in this video, from mindset shifts to powerful study techniques, but if there's one takeaway I want you to leave with, it's this. Consistency is key. The most successful students aren't necessarily the ones with the highest IQs or the most natural talent. They're the ones who show up consistently day after day and put in the work. Think of it like building a muscle. You wouldn't expect to see significant results after just one workout. It takes time, dedication, and consistent effort to see real progress. The same goes for studying. Cramming for exams or pulling all-nighters might seem like a good idea in the moment, but it's not a sustainable or effective way to learn. Instead of trying to cram everything in at the last minute, focus on developing consistent study habits. Even just dedicating 30 minutes each day to reviewing material, practicing active recall, or working through practice problems can make a huge difference over time. Remember, learning is a marathon, not a sprint. It's about developing healthy habits, staying consistent, and enjoying the journey. So there you have it, the secrets to mastering your studies and unlocking your full academic potential. Effective studying doesn't happen overnight, but with the right mindset and study strategies, you can transform your approach to learning. Remember those powerful techniques we talked about? Active recall, spaced repetition, and time management? These are your secret weapons. And don't forget about the importance of staying organized, eliminating distractions, and taking care of your physical and mental well-being. By implementing these strategies, you can take your studying to the next level. Consistency and persistence are the keys to mastering your studies and achieving academic success. You've got this. If you found these tips helpful, make sure to give this video a thumbs up, hit that subscribe button, and share it with a friend who could benefit from these study hacks. And be sure to let me know in the comments below what your biggest takeaway was and what study strategies you're excited to try.